What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. Just because it's August, that doesn't mean the planting season is over. Not even close. Today, I'm going to share with you over 20 crops you can still plant right now to keep the harvest rolling into fall and even winter. Let's go! To know what we still have time to plant, we first have to figure out how many frost-free days we have left to grow. I am in New Jersey, Zone 7A, and today it's July 26th. My first expected frost date is about October 15th. That means I have about 81 frost-free days left to grow. This number is important because it acts as our guideposts and lets us know which crops we still have time to squeeze in before the frost hits. To find your first expected frost date, it's really simple. Just go on Google, type in first expected frost date and your zip code. It'll kick it right out for you. It's quick and easy to find out. Let's start with some frost sensitive crops because if you're watching this video in late July or early August, you still might have time to sneak a few of these in. These crops include one right here, summer squash. Let's get a harvest from this one. This is one of those frost sensitive crops that you still have time to get seeds planted, so you can make sure you're grabbing some harvests late into the season. We also have time to plant things like cucumbers and even bush beans. But here's the trick. We don't want to just plant any variety. We want to plant varieties that are quick cropping, ones that mature fast. For example, when it comes to our squash, we don't want to plant something right now like the Zucchino Rampicante. That thing takes about 70 days from seed to harvest. It's better to plant something like the white scallop squash. That one only takes about 50 days to go from seed to harvest. When it comes to cucumbers, we don't want to plant something like the painted serpent cucumber. That thing takes about 76 days to go from seed to harvest. Instead, we want to plant something like the Socrates cucumber. That one only takes about 50 days to go from seed to harvest. Same thing goes with our beans. If you want to get some planted right now, just make sure you put in the ground a quick cropping variety. A little warning here, and that is as we move into fall, the days get shorter and the nights get cooler. So even if variety says that it takes like 50 days to go from seed to harvest, it might just take a little bit longer as the weather shifts. So what I suggest you do is if you have, say, 80 days left before your first frost, then you could plant something that only takes about 70 days. I would make sure to give myself at least like a 10-day window. If a variety takes 50 days to go from seed to harvest and you only have 50 days left and it's a frost sensitive one, I don't know if I would push that. Now, let's talk about fall crops, and I'll share with you what I do to ensure myself happy, healthy seedlings. I start almost all my fall crops, except for the root vegetables, in trays. There's a few reasons that this works so well. The first one is that I'm able to protect my plants from pests that are still out in August that are gonna come after my young seedlings. I can just throw an insect netting over my plants and that really helps to protect them. Another thing is when I start my plants in a separate area and not in the garden, in like trays, then I can leave all my summer veggies in the beds and in the garden. This way I can continue to get harvests from them and just make sure I get a bigger overall harvest. The third reason that this works so well is because it's wicked hot at this time of the year and the sun's beating down and it's kind of tricky to start seedlings. So what I do is I use a 40% shade cloth on super hot days. This kind of prevents the sun from cooking my young seedlings. What I like to do is I take the frame for my hinged hoop house, I put that on the ground, and then I cover it with an insect netting or a shade cloth or whatever I need to protect my seedlings. This acts as a sort of like, mini nursery for my future fall crops. It makes a massive difference and it gives my plants the best opportunity to be really happy and really healthy, so when we get them into the fall garden, they just explode into growth. Now, let's get into some fall crops we can plant in August, starting with leafy greens. Some great ones you can get into the garden in August are kale, lettuce, Swiss chard, spinach, arugula, and mustard greens. When it comes to lettuce and Swiss chard and also kale, I'll start planting them now and in the beginning, the first half of August, because they can deal with the heat relatively well and then they'll grow strong into fall. But when it comes to some of the others like spinach, arugula, and mustard greens, those things don't manage the heat as well, and they could bolt quickly if it gets too hot. So when it comes to those, I usually like planting those in like mid or late August, just to make sure some of that heat doesn't just send them into bolting right away. Here's a trick when it comes to your spinach. Spinach seeds, they don't like germinating in warm soil. If the soil is too warm, then the germination rate drops significantly. So what you could do is grab your spinach when you're planting it at this time of the year. So grab some of your spinach seeds, toss them into the freezer for like 2 or 3 days, then take them out, wrap those spinach seeds in a damp paper towel, seal that up in a plastic bag, and then put that in the fridge for like 2 or 3 days. After that, take your spinach seeds and then plant them into the garden. This will help significantly with germination because what we're doing is we're mimicking what will naturally happen to those spinach seeds over the winter. This way they kind of get tricked into thinking that it's winter and then spring, and then when we get them in the ground, they just pop right up. So this will help a huge amount when it comes to starting your spinach when it's just so dang hot out. Next up, we have root crops, and these ones you always want to direct sow. Root crops do not like to be transplanted in, so just direct sow these from seed. It's the way to go for sure. A few of the root crops that you can plant right now are carrots, like you see right here. Let's actually grab a harvest of one of them because they're looking really, really nice. Maybe grab this one right here. Ooh, a little smaller one, and you know, let's grab another one while we're at it. Maybe this one's a little bigger. Ooh, a yellow one, look at that. Look how beautiful those carrots look. Absolutely gorgeous. Love to see it. So a few other root crops you can plant right now too are beets, radishes, and turnips. Radishes are cool because they grow so wicked fast and they're also frost tolerant. So you could plant a round now, plant another round in a couple weeks, and just keep staggering those plantings so you can keep the harvests coming down the pike. When it comes to your beets, they could manage the heat. What I suggest you do though is, because we're direct sowing, I suggest you soak your beet seeds for 12 hours before planting. This will help a lot when it comes to germination, especially if your soil is just a little dry at this time of the year. When it comes to carrots though, these are much trickier, especially in the heat, because carrots need to be surface sown and they need to remain consistently moist for almost like 2 weeks. That's really tough with the beating down sun, especially because we can't put a mulch over our carrot seeds because they just don't like pushing up through a mulch. So it's really tricky to get good germination at this time of the year, but don't worry. I've got a good way for you to do that. And if you've seen the channel, it's something I've shared many times. It's known as the carrot board trick. So what we do is we take our carrots, we surface sow them, and then we water them in. Then we take this board and we cover the carrots with this board and then leave it for about 5 or 7 days. Then we make sure we come out and check every day to see if the carrots are starting to sprout. Once we see the first carrots starting to sprout, we'll remove the board. This just helps so significantly because it allows us the soil to remain moist and the carrot seeds to remain moist too, which gives us a good, even germination. And then we just remove the board and there's no mulch covering, so it works fantastic. I've been doing it for years, and believe me, if you've never tried it before, it will make all the difference when starting seeds in this, again, wicked, wicked heat. Let's shift over to the heavy hitters in the fall garden. I'm talking about brassicas like cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli. These are the fall workhorses, and they actually thrive in the cooler weather that's ahead. One thing I want to note is that when you're starting your brassicas like these, I suggest you start them in trays in a protected area. This way you could help prevent that hot sun from making those seedlings tall, stressed, and leggy. And also you can protect it from a lot of the pests that are still flying around at this time of the year. I also suggest you plant varieties that are quick cropping and ones that take a little longer. For instance, when it comes to your cabbage, plant something like the early Jersey Wakefield cabbage. That thing only takes about 65 days from seed to harvest. Also plant something like the Ruby Perfection cabbage. That one takes about 85 days from seed to harvest. Because these are cold hardy, they will continue to grow past your first expected frost, and like I mentioned, they thrive in some of the cooler weather and they actually can taste a little better after they get a little cooler. Makes them like sweeter. A quick tip is to watch out for things like the white flies at this time of the year. They're literally everywhere, and they could go from your older brassicas right to your young new plants. If you see a lot of white flies, I suggest you use something like the Safer soap. This one's really quick, really easy to use. It's a great knockdown spray and super efficient on your soft-bodied insects like the white flies. Neem oil is also a great choice when it comes to spraying the white flies. This one's organic, it's easy to use. Just make sure you don't hit the bees with this one because it could damage them, so it's better to spray this one in the evening. Stay on top of protecting your young plants because we need young, healthy plants in order to get big future harvests. Another crop we can get planted in August are peas. When it comes to planting peas, I usually don't get them in the ground till about the second week of August. Any earlier, and it seems like the summer heat is still here and it can really fry those young pea seedlings. In my notes, I have tracked over a number of years, and it seems like right around August 16th is when those nights seem to cool off and the peas can thrive in them. So that's usually when I get my peas in the ground, right in that area. When it comes to planting peas, at this time of the year, I suggest you first soak your pea seeds for 24 hours before planting. This will significantly help with germination. It'll like soften the outer coating of the pea, and it will just make sure you get good, consistent germination for all your peas. Now, let's move into some cold hardy greens that will feed you through the winter. You can plant them now in August, and some of them even in September. I'm talking about ones like Claytonia, Mashi, Bok choy, tatsoi, sorrel, collard greens, and even green onions. These are true cold lovers. They'll not only just survive a light frost, some of them will even continue to grow through a snow with just a little bit of protection. Heck, my tatsoi, I've grown that thing through the whole winter with no protection. The snow came, didn't bother it, it just kept on growing. Some of these plants are just so cold hardy, and to get them going now will benefit you significantly later in the season. I mean, grabbing those fresh harvests, so dang good. What I do is, as my summer stuff starts to get cleared out of the garden, I tuck my winter veggies in, and then I'll also make sure that I put a mulch down. This helps insulate the soil and allows the plants to grow deeper into the season. Then when it really starts to get cold, I'll take my Hinge 2 Pals, throw it over the top. Like this, I can continually get harvests deep into December, maybe even later. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. Don't let the calendar fool you. We still have plenty of time to get stuff in the ground. And one of the cool things is the fall harvests, they tend to be like some of the best harvests because the bugs, they really slow down and they're not as prevalent. And it just makes it more fun to be out there, especially as it starts to get like cooler. You can grab some of those sweet, delicious harvests. Overall, I had a blast with this video. I hope you guys got some real value out of it. I wanted to send a thank you to one of our new channel members, Bernadette McKay. Thanks for being a part of Team Grow. Thanks for having your hand in everything we're doing out here. It's a beautiful day, even though it's insanely hot. And the garden's still looking really, really nice. And I feel like it's like turned the corner to the point where, you know, in early July, it was looking a little weak. Now it's really showing up and looking fantastic. I'll give you guys a tour in a very short amount of time. But I wanted to mention to check out the merch over at teamgrow.us. This is my favorite new design, inspired by nature. It ties into the patterns of nature, and I just love how it came out. I also want to mention that you guys gotta go over to teamgrow.us and check out our community, where there's well over 3,000 members. We're all on there, coming together, sharing our knowledge, and just pooling and coming together to try to get closer to that ultimate goal of growing a better future together. I had a blast. If you guys got value, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends. Sharing, liking, commenting, subscribing, they all help a lot for the channel, so just get engaged down below. We'll catch you guys on another one real soon. We out.